And the software used in designing this gear train is Autodesk Inventor Professional 2020. And we can see in this gear train there are two gears. These two are the spur gears, and there are two shafts. These two are the two shafts, and there are two bearing casings, and these two are the two bearing casings, and there are four ball bearings. We can see one, two, one, three, four, and these four are the four ball bearings. And we can see there are two keys also provided. This is one key, and this is the another key. Okay, now I want to say what is a gear train. A system of gears which transmit motion from one shaft to another shaft is known as the gear train. And there are four types of gear trains. There are simple gear train. This is the simple gear train. How can we say this is the simple gear train? There is only one gear is mounted on each shaft. We can see this is the shaft and this is the gear, and this large gear is mounted on this single shaft, we can see. So this is the simple gear train. And compound gear train, in this type two or more gears are mounted on the single shaft. So we can see in compound gear on this shaft, we can see two or more gears can be mounted. And riveted gear train, the compound gear train in which input and output shafts are collinear to each other. So input and output shafts in riveted gear train are collinear to each other. And okay, I want to say that gear train, if there are three shafts are provided in a single gear train, then the direction of rotation of the first gear train and the second and the third gear train should be equal. And if there are only even number of gear shafts are provided, then the first shaft and the last shaft will rotate in the opposite direction. We can see there are two shafts only provided. The first shaft, if the first shaft rotates in this direction, the first shaft rotates in this direction, then we can see this shaft will rotate in the opposite direction. If odd number of shafts are provided, then we can see first shaft and the third shaft will be rotates in the same direction. We can see how the each parts will helps. And these two are the spur gears. These are the important elements in the mechanical power transmission. These are round wheel like shaped, having teeth. These are known as the teeth. And the gear ratio, it is the ratio of the number of teeth for the driven gear to the driving gear. In this, if we consider this as the driven gear and this large shaft as the driven gear and this small shaft as the driving gear, then if the gear ratio is given as 2, then this will have 2 times more teeth. This large gear will have 2 times more teeth than the small gear. And generally cast iron, steel, brass, plastic and bronze are used to design the gears. And shafts, these are the cylindrical like structures. And bearings, these are primarily used, these are known as the bearings. These are primarily used to support the rotating shafts, supports heavy loads, and these can also use it to reduce the friction. And these require very less maintenance. Keys, these are known as the keys. These are known as the keys. These are metal pieces used to connect rotating machine element to the shaft. It prevents the relative rotation between the two parts. When we see that the relative rotation between the shaft and gear train, the key will helps in the reduction in the rotation. And thank you. And in general form, the motion transmission we can see like this. If the driving shaft rotates in this direction, then the driven shaft will rotate like this. Thank you for providing such a course, Skyfi.